Hello, Space Monkeys. It's been a while since we last talked. I hope you're all doing well. Or at least you were, until we invaded your podcast app once again. Recently, Bonnie Brantley, Eric Perry, Lee Shackelford, Kyle Jones, Shannon Perry, and I, Richard Nadolny, gathered online to chat about podcasting, our lives on and off the Oz9, and what may lie ahead.
I just wanted to gather us together to talk a little bit about your role on Oz9, podcasting in general, happy thoughts, the story so far, where you think it's going. Lee, I want to talk to you briefly because I think your character, like others in this thing, started as a fairly minor character and then morphed into something larger than life, quite literally.
By popular demand.
That's right. Yes. Well,
Yeah.
it once we started working on the romance between you and Donna, things changed rapidly. So, can you tell us a little bit about what you think about that and any other thoughts you might have? Hey, Bonnie.
Spoiler alerts, I guess, for new listeners. So.
Oh yeah, Kyle, can we borrow your spoiler alert?
Oh, absolutely. May I do it?
Yeah,
May I
please.
do it?
Do it.
So if you have not listened to a single episode of Oz9, what rock are you stuck under? Somewhere on G2, maybe. I don't know. But if you have not heard any of these episodes, go listen, come back, because from this moment forward, spoilers.
Spoilers.
Affirmative.
Spoilers.
Spoilers? What spoilers?
And I killed Sparky too.
And don't you guys just love how I love to just put a spoiler warning in just for the hell of it?
Yay!
Who's he talking to?
I killed Sparky too.
All right, Lee, go for it. Tell us all about it.
There's
Hey,
Bonnie
welcome.
Fair Persephone.
Hey, hang on a second. Is there a script or something?
No, we're just chatting.
no.
This is just a chatting
Oh.
thing.
Hi.
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 Although we are chatting to our public, so yes, this is
Oh,
being
are we
recorded
live?
too. Yes.
No, not live.
Oh,
We're
you're-
recording.
So you're saying, Bonnie, you didn't get the script done?
No script.
No script.
Torment her like that.
Yeah. So I was asking Lee to talk about the morphing of his character from a minor character with the sort of one-off scene to a much larger presence.
The Morpheusing of it.
The Morpheusing of Pluto.
Different.
And as Donna, you can help us have that conversation. So
Exactly. No, I was just delighted to be asked to have any part in this at all. So, yeah. Then when you started saying, well, how would you feel about Pluto being in the next one? Yeah. And there's sort of more and more, and it has gotten more interesting. I was not familiar with the statue, and that was the big deal to me, was to see where some of this had come from. What a freaking weird thing that is.
right.
You can't make this stuff up.
No.
Yeah.
And
He
yet
is
she
the golden
does.
short- Was it the
And
golden
yet she
shorts
does.
that told you?
Was it the jumpsuit that? Yeah.
The
Golden
jumpsuit?
onesie.
Jason
Yeah.
in the golden shorts.
I like the shoes. I like the Robin shoes.
Well,
Elf-like.
The one shoe. Yeah.
Hey,
Exactly.
God, they never want you to do a cosplay.
Well, never say never.
Well, that's it. I mean, I've
And
seen
it
the
is,
gold.
it is solid gold, by the way. Yeah, that's interesting. I think you were showing your little tiki there a minute ago of solid gold character, and
Yeah.
it's solid gold. I guess that. I guess I'm just now catching that. So anyway.
I think that
He
was-
uses it for inspiration.
Right.
There you go.
but no, it's just a great deal of fun, and then getting to sort of act with Bonnie, who has become my favorite voice actor in the whole entire world. It's anyway.
Nice.
Of course, we're never actually in the session together.
Well,
That's
all
it.
I know is I have a new catchphrase: going to 7-Eleven for treats.
It's
For treats.
11 for treats.
That's going to become my new out of office. Sorry to miss you. I'm going to 7-Eleven for treats.
That's a good idea.
you have the good sense to not try to put your hand inside the machines.
I don't know if you got the joke on that because it was about as much of a stretch as it possibly could be, but that was my Deus Ex Machina, literally the God in the machine joke, because he comes in and sort of ends a scene
You're
by
so-
having his hand stuck in a machine. Or
Oh
fixing
my
it.
God.
Nobody got
I'm a
that.
theater scholar and everything. Yeah, I did not
English
get that.
English majors, I tell you.
Yeah. But
Well-
now that it's been pointed out to me, that's completely brilliant. Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
like
usually when you have God in the machine or God from the machine, you don't get them back out again. That's
In this
the end.
case, you have to have exact change to
You have
get
to-
them back out.
Well, and it's
It
not
is-
always
it's not
quite
gonna
so
require-
literal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was afraid that I wanted Pluto to come in and fix things, but I was thinking, oh man, somebody's going to accuse me of this being a, sort of God in the machine moment. So then it was like, oh, well, why not? Why not make
Why
it
not?
actually
Get him
a
in the
God
machine.
You should have just had to haul it around for a while.
Yeah.
I was planning that. I was actually planning that, but the sound effect
sound
was
of-
so hard.
Mhm.
Like,
I was thinking
how
of
was
sound
it-
effects.
Ka-kunk.
It's really more of a rattling walking stick.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and then he hits a certain bump, and then it's like, free candy. Really got it.
Pinata.
Being followed around by small children.
Yeah, right.
You know, in real life, I don't think I've ever had any Mike and Ikes.
There you go.
Yeah, I
We
don't
gotta
think
order
I
you
have
some.
either. Is that sold
I
in
prefer
theater?
hot
haven't either.
tamales.
You can buy it, it's the thing most
It's
people
mostly
probably get it
theater.
at the theater
Yeah.
or, like Jujubes or Dots or whatever, but you can
Right.
buy them at Bartell's.
Well,
just
now we need to
saying.
have those if we ever get to do our live show. That needs to be something we just pass out.
You know
That's
what
true.
would be fun is a Mike and Ike's cocktail where you put some candies in the bottom of a. People are gonna think this
like
is
you
all I
put the
think
coffee
about. 'Cause
bean
I
on
always-
a
yeah.
there's a coffee bean you put on top of something.
Well,
Yeah.
or
It's
like
called-
the tequila.
So you
worm.
put 6 Mike and Ikes in the glass, and then pour in a shot of vodka, and then it gets infused, and there you go.
God.
See
This is great. Somebody write
breaks
this
down.
down.
why I spend so much time thinking cocktail recipes. I am not a drinker. Kyle, I swear.
You're a drinker thinker, though.
Apparently,
I like
You think about it.
Drinker stinker.
what's his name on Cheers? You're just the bartender that doesn't drink.
Sam.
There you go, Sam.
The bartender. Who's the
Sam?
bartender on Cheers? Good Lord.
I couldn't think of Sam. It's been a long time.
All right, I'm going to move to Kyle for a second and say, Kyle, how is it being a narrator too? And have you finally graduated from the Ron Howard School of Expository Science?
I would have to ask, since I am a tour guide sometimes, I would have to ask narrator number one that question. Have I graduated yet?
You're getting there. I think you're a junior.
Okay.
Junior.
So he's in his apprenticeship, is what we're saying.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm getting there.
Maybe his senior year.
So he's still getting
Okay.
beaten regularly.
Just as long as I don't have to repeat senior year more than once, then I'll be happy.
Exactly.
Well, I did a shout out on discussing who recently because my experience of Kyle is that he's always saying, "Lee, you're going to have to say that name because I can't say it." And then and because he's obviously been playing because he then did this marathon of people's names, some of which were very difficult, and out of
Yep.
breath and tag teaming with Richard, which I
Oh, I do have to say that Shannon and I were doing something the other day, and it was her turn to take over, and I said, "Tag me out, tag me out."
Which was a brilliant improv. Yeah, and in fact, because we're not entirely sure, we don't hear their names. We only, see them on the Patreon page or whatever. So Kyle doubled up on some of them to get a couple of pronunciations in, and I just left it because it's like, I don't know which one it is, so we're going to leave them both.
There you go.
all you
And
can
for
do.
someone that doesn't know, just assume that that's two different people.
That's right. You were waiting for your name, but that was somebody else.
There you go.
Speaking of pronunciation, Lee, I've been wanting to ask you this for ages. We all assume it's Shackelford, but when I hear you say it more like Shackleford. So which is actually the proper preferred pronunciation?
Pronunciation,
It's Lee.
Pronunciation. Yeah, it's-
like Charday.
I'm not sure there is one.
Fair.
Yeah, that sometimes I just emphasize the Ford so that it doesn't fall off, so it doesn't just sound like shackle.
Right.
So,
Don't swallow the Ford,
yeah.
which is a real
Chevys are fine.
Chair keeps
Yeah.
sinking.
So every time I hear Richard say Lee's name differently than I do, I cringe, not at Richard, but I'm cringing thinking, oh my God, for 5 or 6 years, have I been saying this man's name wrong?
We're about
I'm
to
just a
record our-
puppet. She
Yeah.
goes, you should say it like he does. Okay, sure, fine.
Right.
So,
yeah, but which
Why do you
one?
blame him?
Yeah, exactly.
In Norway, it's a Shacklefjord. It's
Shacklefjord.
Shacklefjord.
You-
I had to-
Straight lover.
That's why Donna is pining for the fjords, right?
Exactly.
And
Oh,
in
there
further
was so
fury.
much going on in that joke. Uh, Bonnie, sorry, that was so bad.
Kind of for the fool.
Bonnie,
Yes.
you say you have kind of a crush on Pluto. Let's hear
I
all
do.
about it. Tell us about that.
She didn't at first.
Is this
Hang on a
an
second.
episode of
Just now,
TV?
though.
Uh-oh, hubby's in the house. Got to close the door.
And you know that I have a crush on a voice of a character. Oh, he's just so romantic. He's so romantic, and he calls me my lady. Donna. Calls Donna my lady, and is nobody does that. Now, if anybody did that to you in person in real life, it'd be like,
What
like
a
somebody
creep.
singing to you with a guitar. and
Sounds a
looking
little
at
like
you.
Malady, of course.
But it works on audio. He's just such an old-fashioned romantic, and to know that he could zap anybody if he wanted to. Ooh.
Well, except you have his
Ooh.
key, which is
And he still gets his
complicated.
hand stuck in candy machine.
Is that a
That's
euphemism?
adorable. See?
I know.
Endearing somehow, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're getting into character of poor little, well, it used to be sort of poor little Donna, but now we don't know what her life is like. It just seems like get into her character. She's been sitting around in an office for so long, and all of a sudden she's got a god who is in love with her. You
Well,
gotta love
thinks
it.
she's his wife.
I know, you gotta love it.
Whatever.
That
Anyway,
seems
how
to be
can you
going
not?
around.
What's not to love?
Exactly.
Or
But
how
no
are you going to keep them
offense,
down on the
but-
farm once they've been to
So,
Haiti?
so
Well, and Donna did grow all those plants in the G2 offices. So,
That's
she
right.
does have a green thumb.
Mm.
So daughter
My
of
lady of the
Demetrius?
plants.
Right. Not
I
that
see.
not that much of a stretch. Question then.
Yeah, she's gone organic in her basement. You know that.
Children. This is going to be the cat herding from hell. It's a good thing there's only 6 of us on this call.
I was going to say, this is nothing.
It's a good thing you only have one brother. That's
Ooh,
the
plot
problem.
twist there. Come on.
All right, question for Lee and Bonnie then. How is it to play a romance when you're not in the same room? Is it easier because it's, I don't know, less embarrassing when you don't have to be with the person? Is it harder? What? Tell me about it.
I would say for me, it would probably be easier.
Mhm.
I think it'd be harder with someone in the room because I'd get embarrassed. I'd get all
Yeah.
that, which shows how non-professional I actually am.
You know, she and I, of course, made a romantic movie together.
Yes, I
and
know.
it
I'm
was-
trying not to think about it.
Well, she's saying how hard it was to be romantic with a person in the room. But
Well, it's not. You get
Well-
caught up. You get a little caught up. You got to be careful.
Well, the good thing about that movie, though, was, that was kind of a COVID movie. You always had the 6 feet of separation. So,
Wait,
oh, that was her choice.
wait. In
Oh,
what?
okay.
Exactly.
In we didn't have 6 feet of separation in that, did we?
And
Well,
this was
just because you guys
15
were
years
always,
ago.
yeah.
you were
Fair
sitting
enough.
on opposite sides of the table talking or whatever. It was
I
just,
don't know. Not always. I kissed him in the movie once. It wasn't scripted.
oh, I must
wasn't
have blacked
scripted.
out. I must have
Wait,
blacked out.
so Bonnie made a movie with Kevin Bacon? I missed that.
Oh, with Eric. We Eric got in on here
Thanks.
once because we actually did a little movie together called when
Howard joins the club.
the club. I almost
Yes.
said when Howard met Sally. And so that's the only time in my life I've ever had to do a romantic relationship in person. And actually it was really fun. It was really easy. But we were also improving the lines as we were going along. So that was a little bit easier because we didn't have to learn a script.
Yeah.
And but I think that it would have been harder for me to do it in person. I don't know because I'm not as much of a pro. I'd have probably gotten embarrassed. What about
Well,
you, Lee?
Yeah, I've done it both ways. And
Hello.
Well,
yeah, I'm with you.
You heard it, folks.
Yeah.
It's probably easier on our spouses.
in
Karen's
performance,
probably used to
though,
it by now.
you know,
Huh?
I don't know. Yeah.
Have you
No,
done
I-
much
I-
romantic scene stuff before, either of you?
Like, well,
Bonnie said no, but not so
Except for
much.
you.
well,
Yeah.
the first real play I was in, not like the kindergarten thing or whatever. The first real play I was ever in had a big kiss in it. That was the climax. So it's like being taught to swim by being tossed in the river. It's like, well, I guess I'm doing this then. So I guess we're doing this.
Right.
But I would tip my hat here if I had one on to June Clark Eubanks. However, I would say that since we're working in isolation, getting direction from her it's night and day. Yeah. You don't have to think so much when you have a director.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
was saying that one of the
she's
great
great.
things she adds is not just the specifics of what needs to happen on any line, but just keeping the energy going of a scene
Yes.
by
I
describing.
think that's the biggest thing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And her
Mhm.
direction could be printed as a romance novel. It's steamy.
Yes.
We should
No,
offer that as a Patreon
we'd have to
reward.
bleep
There you
out too
go.
many words. Nobody would understand it.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea that we should raffle off June's director's cut script.
Well,
Yeah.
we did.
Quite
We
amazing.
did have the live show for the comic book Kickstarter
yeah,
group,
yeah.
and a couple of those people had mentioned on our Discord server that the difference between, by seeing that, because we do the read through first for those who aren't familiar, and then June gives her director's notes and tells us, no, do this, no, do that, and then we go back and do the read through one more time after that. And so one of the listeners was saying, well, after seeing the difference, it's amazing how much more it brings to the to the show, how much more she draws out of us and makes it more real and whatever. So yeah. She's great. That's
Her
fantastic.
collected notes could be really worth something at some point as she works through this process of learning how to be an audio drama director. I think those notes would be quite valuable.
Yeah.
Because it's, I think, a very unique directing thing you have.
Well, because she is a professional director, but she's never done audio dramas. Yeah,
this is such a unique thing to do that
without the visuals.
Yeah, exactly.
And yet she still pulls so much out of us.
Yeah, and you do have to push a little more in audio, I think. So then we'll sort of forget that we don't have our facial expressions to rely on or anything like that. So she would have to push us a little harder to be a little more dramatic sometimes, or whatever, to think more,
Yeah, she's
and,
giving
and with the detail that she'll give, pretend like you're gouging his eyeballs out, or pretend like, I'm not in the romantic scene.
Right.
But, I would go that far and it would really get so much better.
Yeah, she pulls motivations and also shows us the forest for a minute that we're like, oh, okay, this is why you're trying to do this. So rather than just reading our individual line or whatever.
Not too long ago, Kyle and I did a review of the Doctor Who. What did they call it? What did they call Scream of the Shalka when it came out? It was
a webisode.
Webisode, yeah. So trying to think what the made-up word there was, but we just thought it was terrific. And I think it was Clarence who put his finger on this, that we've seen a lot of the reconstructed Doctor Who's where they've taken the audio track that was recorded for the film performance, and then they've created an animation that fills in the video that's now lost. And we were talking about the difference in performance between, or the resulting performance that you get from the ones that have had sort of the retconned animation, and Scream of the Shalka, which had actors who were performing for animation. I mean, they were in the studio being directed by somebody who was saying, nobody's going to see you. They're going to see something else.
The cartoon.
Cartoon.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's limited animation. So a lot of this has got to come from you. And nobody had said that, when they're doing Power of the Daleks or whatever, that's going to be made into a cartoon 60 years later.
Right.
It is night and day. Once you're clued into it, you go, oh yeah, that's why this one seems to work so well. So
right, nice. Oh, that's cool. Now I'm gonna have to go watch that webisode because I have not seen it.
You need to see it, if only to listen to our episode, because there's some stuff in it that I think you'll especially appreciate. But anyway,
awesome. Well, I listen to you guys' episodes anyway.
Go watch Scream of the Shalka and then listen to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Kyle will have to do that spoiler alert for me.
Right, put us on pause, go listen, and
come back. But before we continue, if you don't mind me piggybacking off of something Lee just said, I wouldn't mind asking all of you guys this question, which is, do you guys find the audio medium that you're working in liberating? Because I think with the different characters that you do, and Bonnie, I was going to say, Donna, I'm going to push this to you, but Bonnie, particularly to you, the nuances that you give Donna versus Jesse, do you guys find that to be liberating, being able to get on and just become someone so drastically different in your characters? Do you guys like that?
Hell yeah. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Yes, I love it. And when I'm doing it, I'm visualizing a sort of a character in my head in a way. I sort of have a visual. I don't have a very vague visual of Donna. I mean, I don't know what her hair color is or anything like that, but I have a sort of a picture of her in my head when I'm doing it. And then I'm probably doing her face too, Donna. She's kind of Donna. And but yeah, just I love it. And it's I don't know if it has anything to do with being ADD or whatever, but not having to worry about how my face looks and what my body's doing and where the camera is and tracking and framing and all that. Not having to worry about all that also is just it's just me and the microphone. I think that's very liberating, and you can put more into it when you don't have other things to think about. I'm sure there's the most professional actors in the world. It's become second nature, but it wouldn't be for me, I don't think.
Cool.
Nice. Can we put that to Eric too? Because Eric has,
Yeah,
I think,
absolutely.
the record number of major characters. You've got
Oh, yeah,
four
he's crazy.
major
What was the
characters.
question exactly again? Is it freeing to do audio drama?
Yeah, being able to be in front of the microphone and not have to worry about all the other things, but then be able to create these different nuances and be those characters, sometimes changing on a dime.
Well, yeah, I don't. Usually, I record the lines, of course, separately, so it's not like I have to change on a dime in the midst of doing the recording. Yes, I as far as doing radio drama, yeah, it's a very fun way to just create a whole character, and like she said, there's so little effort to it because you don't have to costume it, you don't have to put makeup on it, you just voice that character you've had in your head for maybe years since you were a kid, because so many of these characters I'm doing are like literally cartoon characters that I've mixtures of any number of performances I've seen, going back to Saturday morning cartoons through, when you're doing a silly over the top German accent like I do, or German-esque accent. So anyway, yes, it is very strange.
It works.
Yeah.
I think all of our accents are S.
I've gone back and tried to create the list of all the kooky German characters that I've heard through the years that I'm doing, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just doing this guy or that guy, because a lot of them are very similar. Yeah, Hogan's Hero, half the cast. I'm just mocking the Nazi.
Artie Johnson, by any chance?
A little bit of
Artie
Artie
Johnson, a little bit, yes, definitely Artie Johnson, and there's a character from the duck. What's the duck that is a vegetarian, and it's a British cartoon character. Oh, and he's a
This is
vampire.
so fascinating.
He's a vampire duck vegetarian.
Oh yeah, yeah, Duckula.
Duckula, Count Duckula. There's a German
Count
character
Duckula.
in there that is just nemesis. And anyway, so and then Joe is just I'm not. We're still trying to discover who Joe is, but he's just kind of everyday Joe. I think that pretty well sums it up. I guess I've lost a little bit of the thread of the question. Bog it down.
Welcome to Perryville.
It is free. It's fun to just go for it with a character and know that, again, in this process too, you can stop, re-record it if it just didn't sound right, or you went too high, went too far over the top, or whatever. Or a lot of times I'll be reading and I'll play it back, and it's like the energy level seems to be lower than I thought it was. So I have the chance to boost it again and try it again and get the energy, because you have to act beyond normal acting to get your point across much of the time, because there's no visual. So that is nice in that way too, to be able to go big and go for broke and just try a bunch of things, and then if it doesn't work, try it or re-record it, or somebody will tell you. Sometimes very cruelly in a review.
Did you get a bad review?
No.
Oh, there's been some comments about some of the characters a little over the top, and I always assume they're talking.
It's Oz 9. It should be.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, in a historically accurate show like this, I can't understand why people.
Right.
We do put an awful lot of emphasis
I think
on
there's
the
just
science.
certain people.
You're getting comments saying that's not how it really happened.
There's been like 2 comments that people have said that sort of thing. So
Yeah, but they still took the time to comment and talk about the show, which I think means that that's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing. So I'd like to put this out to all of you, particularly my more experienced VAs here. A lot of you have done both comedy and drama, and Lee, I might start with you on this question. Kyle, did we finish your question, or should we?
Yes, you absolutely did.
Okay,
yes.
Good. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Let me add something to Kyle's question very quickly, because you've heard me. I quote this all the time because it's the truth. I just love that Orson Welles, of all people, was the one who said, "The camera is your judge. The microphone is your friend." And he knew what he's talking about. Yeah. And that's my experience exactly.
The camera adds 90 pounds. He wanted everyone
exactly
to know that.
And if you're Orson Bloody Welles, anyway.
Exactly.
Yes, I think that is an extremely important point, that the audio
It's a
drama
great distinction.
allows for a much larger, VA pool, because we don't have those rather ridiculous and arbitrary strictures of appearance. That
Right.
Yeah.
Another conversation we can have about whether or not Madeline is what Madeline's race is, because she's depicted as being very, very brown early on, and I thought that's not Shannon.
Yeah, that was
And-
actually a little bit of a miscommunication between myself and our artist when we started, and then we switched her to match the actor being portraying her, because we didn't want to do that wrong.
Yeah.
We didn't want to have misrepresentation. Yeah,
Good.
exactly. So thank you
Whereas
for pointing that out.
I cast a white boy from Alabama as the Southeast Asian character on Relativity, and really it was kind of late in the game before I said, "Oops."
Yeah, well, it's okay. We killed him off, so he met his just reward.
That's true. You went to Oz 9, you killed him, so yeah.
Exactly. Poor Scotty. Sorry, Scotty. Who I finally Scotty Moore. He was the guard
Trying
that
to be
got
on all
eaten
the
by a plant.
podcasts.
Yes.
Yeah, he was
when-
going for a Guinness record, and unfortunately, they've now said that they're not going to judge that or whatever.
I know. They pulled the rug out from under him, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did finally meet. I'm sorry, I'm not entirely sure if Scotty is a he, him, or a they, them. So Scotty, apologies if we're getting this wrong. I think they. I finally met them at Podmove this past last week. Yeah, which was fabulous. Scotty's wonderful. Very
I
sweet.
believe, yeah, is trying
Is
to
it?
do
Okay,
all the conventions in the world too. So
Yeah. Yeah. Definite podcaster at the heart. So back to my question real quick, which was, which
comedy and drama.
Comedy and drama. Thank you. Which do you prefer to play? Which is easier to play? Eric, are you going to cry? Don't cry.
I was doing drama.
Oh, is that drama?
It
I
worked.
was showing my range.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And made us all laugh. So that clearly was effective.
Yeah.
So which is easier, harder? What's the difference in that? And
Who are you asking?
everybody, frankly, because I think all of you have played characters. Kyle, you were in Relativity and played a fairly dramatic character. So you can answer this question too, because the narrator too is obviously not for drama. So what do you think? Which is easier, harder, more fun, more challenge, etc.?
Are you asking me?
Traditionally,
Oh.
yeah, well, it's believed traditionally, at least, that comedy is always harder.
Even to play as opposed to write?
Yeah, and I believe so. I
Dying
think
is
about
easy. Comedy's hard.
one of the things that struck me kind of recently was that there was a generation of actors who made their careers as playing comic roles, and then sort of in retirement they got to come back and play dramatic roles.
Mm-hmm.
And the feeling to me was that now they can sort of kick back and take it easy. And it starts with Robert Young, who was, Make Room for Daddy, right? Or Father Knows Best, right? Father Knows Best. And then he can come back and be Marcus Welby. And Jack Klugman did it, and help me out here. Buddy Ebsen,
Williams.
and
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams. Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we had this conversation. I said Rowan Atkinson because he's come back as the detective.
I would love to ask him if Maigret is easier than Mr. Bean
right.
or Blackadder, and I would guess he'd say that it is.
Yeah,
This
Hugh
is his
Laurie,
retirement role.
Hugh Laurie is House. Of course, now he's gone back to comedy in Avenue 5.
Yeah,
Whoopi Goldberg, for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
We can go on and on.
It's called
I
the
don't know.
anti-Leslie Nelson.
Some people
effect.
might call that
Yeah.
TV show a comedy, but I don't know.
Yeah, Tig Notaro has done some dramatic stuff.
Yeah.
although has also gone back to comedy. Wonderful people.
but
yeah. That's
I remember, help, Angela Lansbury. I was about to blank on her name. That she said that she was offered the 3-camera sitcom like Golden Girls or something, and she said, "No, I really like the idea of playing this lady detective. I think that would be a lot of fun." Not realizing that meant she'd be in a different location every week, and that she'd have all of this travel to do. And she said, "What a fool I was." But
yeah.
but
Judy
that's still
Tenuta.
her. Do it.
So Judy Tenuta's Lady Macbeth was brilliant. I just want to say.
Wow, there's a reference.
Yeah, seriously.
I
Maybe
would
accordion.
submit that maybe it has a lot to do with maturity as well, because I mean, I haven't done near as much as you folks have, but I've always found dramatic harder to do because it seems forced and unreal to me, as opposed to comedy, which seems natural and is easier for me to do. But as you get older and you understand emotions more, it's easier to draw from that pool and emote and make it seem more real. So maybe that has something to do with it as well.
Kyle, what do you think? Sorry.
I remember as a director talking to a young actor one time, and we're trying to play a scene where, you know, there's this shattering thing has happened to the character. And I said, can you reach for, what do you, you know, just between you and me, what do you think is the worst thing that ever happened to you? And he thought about it and he said, I was late for school once.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's gonna go far.
Wow.
Yeah, I said, that's not going to do it. That's not what's just happened to this character. So yeah,
wow.
I think you're right. The life experience starts to inform probably our tragedy and our comedy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, I think the dramatic personally would be a little easier for me than the comedy. But the caveat to what I'm saying, I would add is as long as you understand the audience that you're presenting for, because as I'm thinking about comedy, I see it as over the top, you know, and I have a tendency to try to be funny and to try to do the voices and et cetera and so forth. And if you're trying for that for more of a straight line comedy as opposed to Oz 9, where you've got the different character voices, then you might be overshooting and whatever. So I would go to the dramatic being more easy. But I think it's just as you understanding yourself as a person and also what you're doing and what the audience is that you're doing it for.
Yeah, somebody said that I'm trying to remember where I heard this. I think it was from June, that if the character is trying to be funny, then they might laugh, but the audience won't. And the idea is that the character has to be fully vested emotionally in what they're doing, no matter how ridiculous it is. And maybe that's just harder. You know, this idea that you have to be fully vested in the fact that there's a bomb on your spaceship, and you have to go reset it every 30 minutes, right? Like, that's just so ridiculous, the situation, that it's hard to take it seriously as an actor and to sort of internalize that. But
have I told you my story about playing the butler in the Agatha Christie murder mystery? It's a comic character. And part of it is because the lady that he works for is just bonkers. At one point in the play, she's taken a lobster out of the pot and she's brought it into the drawing room and she's saying, I was thinking a throw pillow this color would be nice. What do you think? To her house full of guests, they're like, put that back in the pot. My job in this business was to come in with a salver and say, the chef asks me, have the lobster. Which I thought was a very funny line, but it was going to be really funny the way I did it.
right.
And I did about 15 different ways of making that funny before the director kind of took me aside and said, think about what's going on here. It's funny. You don't need to make it funny. In fact, you're upstaging the lobster. Just come in there and
don't get in the lobster's sight lines.
Right, exactly. So
we're gonna use that if you ever get out of hand. Hey, Lee, you're upstaging the lobster.
Exactly. No, that has become the
No treats for you.
in my head. That was nearly 40 years ago, but I still get it. You're upstaging the lobster. Just
it's already funny. Yeah.
It's already funny. Just go do
You
it.
could just see the lobster in the back of the green room after. Hey kid, don't ever upstage me again. You
Let me tell you
understand?
something. You do that again.
Do that one
you know
more
what's
time,
gonna
kid.
happen, don't you?
People gonna get you. See?
I'm union.
Yeah.
You'll never work in this business again.
You know who's going to be in the hot water?
Yeah.
Another thing to think about is that you can't make something funny, no matter how good you are. You can't make something funny that wasn't written funny. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
And then, you know, making somebody laugh is like a little. There's something is sort of like a little magic touch to it, because you're causing. You want someone to do an involuntary action that just comes out of. I don't know how to describe it.
It's a little surprise.
Yeah, and whereas I don't know how to describe that really, but you know, you can't, with bad writing, you can't make it funny no matter what you do. I think And
So can we just all applaud our jokester in chief that
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
that puts all this
That's why it's
together?
funny. Yeah, it's funny on paper.
Thank you.
so, but
Funny
I,
paper. I don't know.
and for me personally, right now, I think comedy would be easier because I don't want to be dramatic. There's so much drama going on in the world and in life and everything right now. I don't want any part of it. You can't get away from it. It's horrible. So that's why I pretty much only watch comedies now.
Mhm.
You can get everything you need in the world from comedy. You can get therapy from comedy. You can learn about history from comedy. I listen to like the Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend podcast religiously. And I have learned more from that podcast about everything on the planet. It's not just, silliness. So I think that, all I really need is comedy in this world to get by. But I don't think I'd want, if someone gave me a dramatic role right now, I might do it, but I don't know if I want it. It's like, because you really have to put yourself there. And I don't want to go feel sad for several hours. And then it lingers with me too. I'm not good at, compartmentalizing or whatever. So I don't think I would want to do it. And even though I'm putting myself in the real place, pretending like I really am angry about being buried in the swamp, deep down inside, I know that I'm not, deep down inside, that's not going to linger with me. I'm not going to have this fear of being buried in the swamp or whatever. And so I just, at this point in my life, I don't have any interest in doing anything.
You can't compartmentalize as the woman in the
Depressing,
lower.
except for maybe just a little brief. I mean, I've done some little brief moment because I feel like I don't want to go there.
But see, I think that's what's the brilliance of Oz 9 is if you think about it, there is a lot of deep stuff going on Oz 9. We quote unquote, we've already done the spoilers. We make the audience think that we're killing off the albatross, which, I'm like raging as I'm driving down the road at Shannon as it's happening. But on the flip of that, when you do have these other episodes where you are in the swamp and you've got these bad things going on, you've got a robotic zebra there, and you've got Le Bichon Frise, and you've got pneumonia and all these other weird and crazy characters that offset all the drama that's going on. So I think it makes to piggyback what you're saying, Donna, Bonnie, is the simple fact of it does make it feel better as you're watching it and listening to it.
Yeah, because I can get myself into Jessie feeling really sad about her, life, and she's never really had love, and these things like that. And for the moment, for certain scenes where I need to try to go there, but deep down inside, I know that something ridiculous is going to happen in a little while, so I'm not going to stay sad for too long.
There was a whole group of people who tried to kill her with scorpions too.
That's right.
The whole crew hated me. Jesus, how awful would that be if I not,
It's a little.
We got to go back.
How long can you stay sad when the next thing you know, you're, backwards in your spacesuit?
Yeah.
Well, just pee so you know which way is up.
Yeah.
Oh, Olivia.
That was that was her honest advice. So, Kyle, just last week we were talking about the fact that you and I had the same experience when we saw that Catherine Tate was being announced as a regular on Doctor Who. That we both said, Catherine Tate? No, she's a comedian. That's not.
I was listening to Shannon listening to that episode. Yes, that's right.
Boy, did she prove us wrong.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think, another thing about a lot of comedians who end up being so good at a dramatic role that just kind of shocks you. And the two examples I'm thinking of right now, of course, are Robin Williams, and
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, absolutely.
Yeah. And when Will Ferrell did this one movie, and I can't think of the name of it right now, but it was devastating, where he played this alcoholic who had been kicked out of his house by his wife, and he's living in the front lawn for a while. Devastating. And then you realize that you have to kind of come to realize that a lot of the reason some people are comedians is to stave off the sadness of the real world. I mean, some of it is we want attention. A lot of us, we want attention, and we love to get the attention. We love to make somebody laugh. But a lot of it is we want to go here where it's happy as much as we possibly can to stave off the other stuff. And I think that it's very easy for a lot of us to go the other way if we need to. All you got to do is lift up that wall for a minute, and we're there. And I think that was maybe very much the case, especially like with Robin Williams and others, where
absolutely.
comedy was so natural to him, but also he could go
Very dark.
Sadness was right there.
Yeah, and I think that about Steve Martin too. Like he is really wonderful in some of his dramatic roles. I remember when they came out that he was redoing Cyrano de Bergerac, which is my favorite play of all time. And I thought, oh man, I don't know about this. Those are some silly hands to put that play into. And then he did, then Roxanne is just this absolutely gorgeous movie, one of my favorite movies of all time. But he does a wonderful job playing the sort of
straight funny guy
delicacy of that character. Yeah,
and he's not really a silly man in real life.
No, apparently he's not.
I mean, he puts it there, but he's quite serious.
He can be silly.
Yeah. Another philosophy major, or whatever that went for comedy.
Get him in a room with Martin Short.
Until he's in a room with Martin Short, and then it's insanity.
They're triggers.
Exactly. Other questions? Anybody else? Anybody have questions for others in the group? I'm curious what your questions
stop
are.
doing this. I'll have a million probably.
I have all kinds of questions, but those people aren't here, so
let's answer for them.
Well, I guess the flip of the comedy drama question that comes to my mind is for Shannon. We've talked about it before, that you say that you absolutely cannot write drama, which I think is probably selling yourself short. But you just tell the story and take all the jokes out.
Take all the jokes out of it.
What's the point of that?
Tell a sadder story.
What would be the point of that? Then you'd have relativity.
Right.
No, we did some funny stuff.
Oh, relativity's, I love relativity, and I wouldn't love anything that was just straight drama because it's just too hard for me. But yeah, it's
life isn't straight drama either. I mean, God, if you're doing it right.
Yeah, exactly. What would you guys think about doing a live show? We've talked about wanting to do a live show actually in French Lick, Indiana, which I think would be hilarious. What would you think about the possibility of just doing a live show of Oz 9, which would be tricky to say the least, but
tricky.
Trippy.
I think it would be great fun if we didn't take it. We didn't take it too seriously. Like if we knew that the whole point of us doing a live show is nobody's going to fire us. We're not getting paid for it, really. I mean,
this is an awkward moment.
I was going to say, I don't think it's worth it until we can fill a stadium. So let's
but I think it would, ideally, it would just be fun to do because I think people would love seeing it. And of course we'd take it seriously, but in the same time, to know that a mess up is usually delightful.
Mm-hmm.
If Eric accidentally slips into the wrong character voice because he's going back and forth between two characters, he would never do that.
No,
nor would you, because I love how the beginning of every one of your lines is pretty much like, okay, wait, Donna.
Yeah,
you're like Jesse. Okay.
Sometimes I do that. That's the
we
weird
could do it and have fun.
I
and
know.
Messed up, not to worry, because people would still love it, and I think that would be so much fun. I'd love it.
That's very much how I see it. Is just everybody, all 13 of us standing behind microphones, and music stands, and basically just riffing.
It would have to be somewhat thought out so that it didn't just become some long, awkward thing.
Oh, you mean like this?
Yeah. Well, first, yeah. Get rid of Richard. Anyway, no, just kidding. No, it would, if it was done correctly, it would be a lot of fun. Yeah. And it's not a thing you'd have to go into a lengthy rehearsal period for, of course, but
it would, the script shouldn't be a surprise either.
Well, there is a theater
true.
style. Has anybody ever heard of Reader's Theater? It's kind of like that we used to be a speech contest in school when we were in school, where people would just get up and basically do a radio drama.
It is
standing in positions. Yeah, exactly. So it is a format that can be done.
And we've seen other shows do it. Yeah, we've seen other shows do it. Like Wolf 359 did a really cool standing version of a live show, which was just which was great and really fun to watch, because it's fun certainly to watch the guy Zach. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm screwing this up, but he plays both the Russian and the main character, and so well that it took literally 3, 4, 5 episodes before I realized it was the same guy voicing both parts, because he's so amazingly good at it. Yeah, he's astounding. But he was like reading one character at one podium and running over to the other one to switch characers, so that there was a visual swap of the characters. Yeah, it was very.
It would be fun to do that with Madeline and Olivia.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, it would.
It would be hilarious. It'd be fun to do it with Joe and
Dr. Von Haverset.
and Howard and
Yeah.
Just get the whole group of them in some fight with each other.
Yes.
Steps in. Maybe
which
just
I
like-
have to admit is the joke in one of the later episodes this season where they're going to send the robots and Dr. Von Habesetzer and Joe someplace on the ship. And someone's like, one of the crew's like, isn't that going to be a lot of people in one small space? And I think Olivia responds, fewer than you think, or something like that.
Yes, that was really funny. I love that.
Not as many as you think.
One of the little Easter eggs, yeah.
That's an Easter egg. Fun joke, at least.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah,
fun with
I would
Easter
be
eggs.
all about doing a live show from space.
And we're talking about a live show, by the way. We're talking about a live show we're all in the same place, or a live
Yeah.
show as in this.
All in the same place. Ultimately,
Yeah.
would be the dream.
So I think from
but
space would be.
from space
That would be awesome.
Well, Elon Musk is moving to Austin, so I'll give him if I run into him,
There you go.
I'll
There you
chat him
go.
up and see what he can do.
That would be a funny episode. Would be the characters somehow get cast out into space and they're just floating in space and having some sort of a scene
Yeah.
tethered or something
tethered to the ship.
Work your
Well,
magic.
here we are.
There you go. We're all playing Red Rover in space.
Exactly.
No, but I would love to do it. I would just have to wait till this damn virus is.
But if you see him, Bonnie, flip him, give him a few Oz9 stickers or something. And
I'll keep him with
Who?
some of your Valentines. There we go.
Elon Musk is
Yeah,
moving to Austin in his whole thing.
He is moving to Austin?
If he hasn't
Yes.
already. Yeah, and
Because
bringing
because
his whole
he's building the underground transport system or whatever.
talking about it, but he's bringing the Tesla, manufacturer.
Well, yeah, I know he's building the plant. I didn't know he was intending to move there physically.
Well, I
so-
mean, I'm sure he can go wherever he wants, whenever he wants. But I'm,
Yeah, exactly.
So if I
Via
run
all his underground railroads that he's built.
All right. Anyway, moving on.
about Elon,
Elon.
This
Elon
is all
Musk.
pertinent. This is relevant to the
It
topic.
is actually. So I
We
wanted
should get
to.
him on the show. Elon.
Kyle, what is the motivation for narrator 2?
To sound
there
as, and no, I'm really being serious now whenever I say this. To sound as good as Richard. Seriously.
Jesus.
No, I'm not joking. I'm 100% serious whenever I say that. Richard, your voice is awesome as narrator 1. And seriously, my motivation is to sound as good as Richard.
oh,
Hello.
That's how he's
Wait,
gonna
where'd she go?
There she is.
Ah.
look at that.
Vote of confidence from the dog. Well, Kyle, you have a very distinct voice that is lovely as narrator 2, and I love it. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
doing that. It's and I know that I can be like, I give Kyle the 7 seconds warning, like, can you have this by tomorrow? And he's like,
I'm like, yeah, sure.
So, sorry.
I will say this. After I got over I dread going back and listening to the very first time you had me narrate.
I hear you.
Because the first time, you know where I'm coming from, but the difference is I had to get out of, so after the first time I had accomplished it and I got out of the headspace, but I was fanboying the whole time I was doing it, which makes me go back and now cringe at how I did it because I was so stuck in the fact that I was narrating an episode of Oz 9 that it took any professionalism out of my because I couldn't get past being a fanboy. Now that did not happen in Relativity because I knew about Relativity before Relativity even became Relativity. I knew I knew you were thinking about doing it. So I was there from the beginning. With you guys, I didn't know any of you at the time when I started listening. And I became a fan first before I even had any interaction. So that was the biggest challenge as narrator 2, was getting out of I'm the fan to, okay, let me do as I was doing for anything else I do.
Well,
So
and
that
honestly, I think that kind of works, Kyle, because I think narrator 2 wants to be a real narrator, right?
no,
And
thank you
so
for making
he's-
me feel better.
Yeah, no, I think it totally works.
Tour guide.
That's the way that reads. Yeah, as a listener.
You
that's how that reads.
seriously just call me tour guide?
Yeah, that was kind of a low blow. Sorry.
Who is this guy?
Okay.
Eric, shush. No, it was so fun to have that voice and it was just so perfectly unexpected and fun, and I love it. And
Well, thank you.
we'll use you again and more. So, but yeah, now we got to get Clarence on board.
Mhm.
Got to figure out a role for Clarence,
Yeah.
so I can have all the discussing who gentlemen in
Right.
meets. Fun stuff.
Is any of this going out live, by the way?
No, it is not. But I was going to ask you guys: is it okay if Eric has a YouTube channel in which we do some visual stuff? Can we put this on?
I've never got that started, really.
Well, it
Oh,
exists.
sure.
And we
Go
can,
for it.
Sort of, I guess.
It
but-
exists in his mind.
Yeah,
Right, right.
exactly.
But
What was
in
the
case
question?
we could, in case we can make it work, is everybody okay with this going out as a visual as well as an audio?
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yes.
Sure.
Cool. Thanks. Excellent. Any
Yeah, they can use it to scare children or whatever. I
My
don't care.
Zevia product placement.
Wait, let's see my product.
Oh, that remember you're going to
There we
get
go.
flooded now with like
Oh, I can beat you.
free sodas.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Everybody get a product into the.
Carrying haggis and jet
This
blast.
is brought to you
no
by
consumer
Zevia
products.
and by yeah.
T-shirt.
This episode is brought to you by Joe. When you need to be clean,
There
find
you
Joe.
Jesus.
I'm sure Kyle was holding something up, but I didn't see it.
Joe.
Oh,
There's your
Tree
awesome.
prep.
Da-da-da.
What is
What is that, Eric?
It's some. I've purchased a peach tree recently, and this is a mix you put on it, a booster of some kind, fertilizer mix.
Peach tree.
For when you
fertilizer.
put in a peach tree, it's just
So
sitting
it's
here.
it now cannot compete in the Olympics, is what we're hearing.
Yeah.
Yes, it's been boosting.
This-
Nice.
and that's why she writes the comedy.
Yep, exactly.
Very fun. You guys are
You
all
are.
too nice to me, quite frankly. Except my brother, of course, which is to be expected.
Shut the heck up.
Yeah, mom likes me better. Well, it is 11:03, so we have kind of neatly conquered an hour here. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to say? Any questions they want to ask before we call it?
Were you trying to give any hints about the new season at all, or
If I knew anything, I would tell you.
great,
but I
right where
don't.
we always are?
Right? Yeah.
Hey, I wrote the narrator's intro for episode 61.
Oh, you
Is there
did?
any-
Yeah.
Is there
Oh,
any
that's a-
insight as to when the new season picks up?
So when our new season starts on September 21st, everyone will be able to see all of this crazy Oz 9 AF stuff in person in their ears. So there you go.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, now you have a date you have to stick to.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
she
we,
had
we
already-
mentioned it in the last one,
Yeah.
but you didn't stick
Yeah.
you didn't stick all the way through the credits, Eric.
Since you don't listen to our show, I mean, you wouldn't know that.
Once I don't hear myself talking anymore, I kind of lose interest.
What?
Really? Yeah. Why should you? Yeah.
Very funny. So let's take a note from Kyle's book here and ask, where else may ye be found, or where else can we find you, or where can we find you? So Kyle, I'm going to start with you since that's your line.
Awesome. Well, I would point everyone to discussingwho.com. That is where Lee, myself, and our friend Clarence Brown talks about Doctor Who. So discussingwho.com, and we are marching toward episode 250. So
That's
there we
incredible.
go.
How long has that been going on now? How many?
Wow.
250 episodes.
250 episodes. But
How long
how-
of time does that mean? Does that?
how long
We
is that?
started in
much weekly.
2016. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Is there that much Doctor Who? There is. I guess if you include the animated stuff.
No.
and
Says the
webisode.
fan.
I wonder if at some point there will be like conventions that people to get together to talk about the guy that used to be on the Discussing Who show, and now
Ah, that would be cool.
then
That's-
like new host, 7 hosts later. So it's the same phenomenon.
That's-
but just-
Well, I will say this: if I can mentally program Clarence and Lee to stick around as long as I possibly can, I'm going to do that, because to me, that's part of the enjoyment of doing this every week, is being able to talk to the two of them. So I think that's, to me, part of the magic of doing the show is talking to the two of them.
Kyle, I made a change on my Google Calendar the other day. And if any of you use Google Calendar, you know that if you set up a repeating event, it asks you, when do you want it to end? And one of the options is never. And I was making my date to record Discussing Who. And it's when do you want it to end? And I clicked never.
Awesome.
Oh, there you go,
Awesome.
Kyle.
See,
Also,
subliminals work. There you go.
As long as we have focus on Kyle, I would like to draw attention to the little Oz9 stickers on the monitor behind him.
Behind who?
And,
Kyle.
Oh yeah, I see Leech.
and the thing that Bonnie made,
The Valentine's Day card?
yeah,
Nice.
Oh, do you have? Oh, you've got the assassins, right?
yeah, they're
of course.
they're hidden behind. They're being protected by the Fourth Doctor.
Nice. Yes. Yes. And shoot, what was I going to say? Something. Oh, I listen to Discussing Who every week, whether I've seen the show that they're talking about or not, because it is a delightful conversation between three very insightful and sensitive speakers who are good friends.
Who are
and
good
generous
friends, yeah.
hosts. And it's just, it's very like, I've said this before, but I feel like I'm sitting in a restaurant with three good friends, listening to them talk, and my mouth is full of food, so I can't participate right now because I'm eating.
But we remedy
Except
that.
when you're on the show.
Except when I'm on the show.
So what else is new?
But yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
shut up.
My favorite thing about the Discussing Who shows that because I hear them constantly because Shannon's listening to them, is when one of you guys makes a point and then the other two go, oh, you're right. I love those little moments when somebody has the
Oh, me
insight that
too.
the other two didn't have, and you all just appreciate it as one. It's so great.
It's really, really lovely. And I just love all the backstory. Like, you guys do the research to know a lot of backstory and little bits of information that the rest of us just don't have access to, or and it's wonderful. I love hearing what goes on at the conferences and the discussions that you've heard and the rumors that you're talking about. Like, that stuff is just cool. And there's always just so much insight that goes so far beyond Doctor Who. And that's the great thing about Doctor Who, is there's a lot of really important stuff going on in there that I love. And
Usually, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I always say the thing about Discussing Who is that if we really enjoy an episode, then we'll have fun talking about how much we love it. And if we didn't like it, we'll have fun making fun of it
Yeah.
In a nice way.
in a nice way.
very
So we're going to
positive
have
way,
fun no matter what. It's,
Yeah.
but there's just no reason to be mean about it.
Yeah.
It just, okay, we didn't like that one,
Yeah. So
Yes.
Kyle, did you find your recorder?
Oh dear, I absolutely did. This is for Clarence. Oh dear, I did find my recorder.
There is a yeah, Clarence loves the whole recorder conversation. All right. Bonnie, you just had a recent announcement of a new gig. Tell us about that on Y2K.
Oh my gosh. Well, I did it a long time ago, but Karen is so organized. She's a maniac.
Yes.
We need a Karen.
Oh, no, Karen.
Heimdall, she's speaking of.
Karen Heimdall for
that Karen.
she's so organized. She had the whole
amazing.
show written out before she started recording, she said. And then she was just amazingly organized, perfectly planned. Just it's a thing of beauty.
Okay, Bonnie.
I'm on your side, Shannon. I get it. But so I did it a long time ago, and I thought that maybe I had missed it, but I was too embarrassed to ask if I'd missed it already.
Oh.
But anyway, I did a character for one of her episodes, and I can't remember what the episode is called right now.
I would have told you if you'd missed it, because I'd heard it. I listened to
But
it.
it's up right now. So if you just go to her Twitter or her anything, she's on all the social media. You'll see what it's called. But I play a comedian who is enamored of the Scottish people. What a reach! And,
Wow, how did you get cast for that?
I'm at the comedy fest, the Edinburgh Comedy Fest. Am I?
Yeah.
Fringe
The Fringe Festival.
So-
yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm. It's a brief little part, but it's fun.
That's fun.
Nice.
Yeah, we several of us have found ourselves doing brief little parts on that on Y2K, which is awesome. I do 2 terrible accents, so that's awesome. It's a
Each
great
worse
show.
than the last.
Oh, so much worse. Richard, what
I
about
missed
you?
that somehow, so I'm kidding. But I told Karen a long time ago that her podcast, the Y2K, has the distinction in my personal headspace of being the first audio drama I can think of where I ever really wanted to just get inside the show to find one of the characters and punch him in the nose.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, seriously. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Agreed.
Look
I
at
had
that.
Olivia going after him a couple times on Twitter. Yeah, he is just obnoxious, and the actor is lovely,
course.
lovely human being. But yeah,
Yeah,
the character.
of course.
Ugh.
Oh, nice people make the best villains.
Oh,
Oh,
Sure.
kind of
absolutely.
like when Shannon had to play Betty on Whichever Path.
Steven, darn you, Steven.
Played a racist white Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that must have been hard.
Oh, it was
So
awful.
far from you.
It was awful.
It was funny to hear her recording because she'd be saying lines and then she would just be like, "Damn it, Steven," the writer, in the middle of her recording. So why are you making me say this? Or
Yes. Whichever Path is a great show, but
It's a great show.
I was so happy when they finally killed Betty. Like, every time I was trying to vote to kill Betty, like,
so was everybody else. Yeah, we were.
oh, I know. How come she's arrived till the end? Anyway, Richard, tell us what else is on in your world, or something that you enthuse
Nothing.
about. That
No, I just I wait for the scripts to show up and do the narration.
Awesome. That's a great thing. We love it. Lee?
He has to walk all the way from one end of the house to the other.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You know that Relativity is one of my favorite shows, and that I gobbled it up like every time an episode came out, it was basically like still warm by the time I'd finished listening to it. So
I remember you would post comments on it when I thought, I didn't even know it had dropped yet. Okay, fantastic.
It's a wonderful show.
I put my wallpaper up here just to say that, a lot of people, the show is over, but a lot of people, my hit counter is just going nuts. So a lot of people are apparently really enjoying binging the thing whole now. And I had several people who told me, when I was saying, looking for you to listen to my show, they go, I'm gonna wait till it's over.
I do that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And it's 60 episodes.
Netflix
right?
and the pandemic have turned every person into a binger. No one wants to wait anymore because you don't get that constant shot in the arm of all the drama and the characters and the story that you're involved in. So
right.
Yeah, and Relativity.
And I had no idea, of course, that would be a thing when I started out writing the show and producing it. So what a relief to find out that it works.
Nice.
I was afraid that if you made one giant listen of it, that it wouldn't hang together, but apparently it really does. So
it really does, because I've listened to it both ways. So
you told me that, yeah.
And it's a wonderful just to kind of binge through the story and even knowing what's coming. It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing stuff.
The episodes are short,
Yeah, and
what I would hope is that people who have heard some of the answers, some of the mysteries get resolved at the end, that they can now go back to the beginning and go, oh, this is where the question came up the first time. That's I see what you're doing.
Yep.
Well, I mean, that's the same thing with our show, although it's accidental. So
yeah.
Yeah,
but
funny,
I started, I had a road trip here recently, and I started over from the beginning, and I had forgotten about this hoity-toity English lady that Bonnie did.
Is that Mrs. Nibblebiscuit?
Yes.
Lady Nibblebiscuit.
Who has the added complication of being dead. But
and disintegrating.
So go play that. She's this posh lady, and she's falling apart. Go.
It's really
literally.
It's a metaphor.
There's some seriously gross sound effects in that one too, which was a lot of fun to find. But
She's just squishing along. Oh, poor thing.
Yeah, our continuity expert Kevin Hall, who plays Greg, is actually doing a re-listen right now and locating all the unraveled threads that I never picked back up again, so that we can start tying some of those off.
Yeah, the unraveled threads that never tied. This is sort of like a half-finished tapestry. There are so many threads hanging all along the bottom of the thing that
it's like looking at the tapestry from the back side, where you see all the threads. Don't
see. I can give you I can give you an in-story explanation for that. There is something built, there's some device that someone has created that is within the Oz-9 that is creating spatial anomalies as you travel along.
Oh,
there you go.
Wormholes are always the excuse.
Take it. Yeah. It's yours.
But starting over from the beginning has also renewed my deep and abiding love for Dr. Friedrich von Habersetzer. So who was sort of my favorite character from the beginning. So
those first couple of interviews with him were so great. Where he's like, we're talking about how you got sort of a built-in reason to not trust him, and
you can go back to that one. It explains a lot.
What are we talking about?
Those Eric sort of
like the first few episodes 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, where Dr. von Habersetzer is interviewed. The show plays a previous interview with him on some talk
archival footage of him.
Talking about artificial intelligences that he's created, and you're sending all these ships out there.
apparently this thing of flushing previous episodes is genetic.
Yeah, he doesn't remember either.
Yeah,
Dr.
well, I
Brown.
remember
It's
that.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah, Eric, you really should go back and listen to it sometime. but
Really
just-
should, you should catch up on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I told
Eric,
Shannon at the time that I recognized that voice as Gag Halfront. That's who
that's right.
I just kept waiting for you to say, well, Zaphot's just this guy.
you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know that Eric's read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
But you got to listen to the radio show to get that.
Oh, yeah, because
Yes,
we didn't know what-
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, Zaphot's just this guy.
yeah.
Speaking of Hitchhiker's Guides, and we all know that Shannon is one of the biggest Hitchhiker's Guide fans in the world.
What?
And I didn't really realize this when we first were dating, and I got her a 42 t-shirt, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I have these audio files of this guy, Douglas Adams, reading this book, Hitchhiker's Guide. She's like, oh, what? So yeah, I have the MP3s of Doug Adams reading the whole thing,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. And that's how I learned how to pronounce Zaphod after reading the book.
Yeah. Yeah. Still in mourning. Eric, where else? What else? Other things? Stuff and
that
happenings?
I'm doing.
Yeah. You show up occasionally on things.
Well, there's the
I haven't
Peach Tree.
shown up.
There's the Peach Tree. Does it have a
There's the
Twitter
Peach-
account
and
or an
the Peach Tree
Instagram?
Players. I have been held over locally
This
for a second weekend doing a spoken word performance of Cats
Yeah.
How's the knee and ankle model
at the
business coming
Tacoma
along?
Playhouse. No, I'm just kidding.
Awesome.
I'm really I haven't done
free
any other
agent?
recordings for quite a while, so I'm just waiting out the hiatus pretty much at this point. And
Hiatus.
Yeah. If people want to hire you for podcast episodes, are you available? And if so, where can they find you?
Contact Shannon.
And
Uh,
the
yeah,
same
where
is
can
true
they
for
find me?
everybody.
I'm in a undisclosed location, so I can't,
So, go through
It's sort
his
of how it
sister.
looks.
Yeah.
I've tried to make it as difficult as possible. To,
Well, you can send a letter to info@oz-9.com if anybody's looking for Eric or any member
Sure.
of our cast if you're interested in chatting with
Yeah,
them.
that's a nice thing, is just to give everybody a little shout out to.
Yeah. So others, are you available for voice acting gigs? And if so, where can you be found? Where should people contact you?
info@oz-9.com.
Well, that gets 4 of us. What about the other 2? Hi, Zoe.
Are you looking for gigs?
Oh,
I'd consider it.
Lee, what about you? You're an amazing voice actor, I might say. Just with
Thank you very
incredible
much.
range, but
yes. Oh, and you can actually hear some of my samples on my website at shacklefordfreelance.com. I've got a whole page that's just the whole site is about me.
Me.
But yeah, there is a page in there just of voice samples with kind of a box to click at the bottom. It says hire me.
awesome.
You should
Yes.
do like a DJ thing version of your samples.
And you can see how to spell Shackleford in his.
Are you
There it is.
Or we'll
are
put
you
it in the show
producing
notes.
or
Yeah.
creating any new shows?
I'm not right now. I've got a commission coming up for another stage play, and then something else after that I've already can't think of right now. So
Commission as in what? Writing
there
screenplay?
are demands on my time. Yes.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
And you start teaching again, right? What do you teach?
Yes, in just a short while. So yeah.
Yeah, and
That's still at Southern?
At the University of Alabama, I teach for the University of Alabama at Birmingham, which
Oh wow.
I've started saying for because I don't live there and I rarely see these people. But
Right. You can do
that's
that
more
nowadays.
about the pandemic than anything.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. Nice.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're about to have our faculty retreat next weekend. And we're going to do it here.
Oh, wow.
On Zoom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wait, on Zoom. I was thinking they were coming to North Carolina.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Wow.
I
That's
kind of
gonna
wish they
make-
would because I'd like to show them around. But yeah.
That's going to make the flag football game a little tricky.
And the sack race, yeah.
In the sack race, right? In the volleyball
Three-legged.
tournament.
Yeah.
Kyle, what about you?
If you would like to get in touch with Clarence, myself, or Lee for that matter, you can reach us at host@discussingnetwork.com.
Very good. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for your time today, especially at the usual incredibly short notice that I have given. Sorry. And
When do
we'll
you
be-
plan to air this or whatever?
Oh, pretty quick. I don't think I'll do any editing at all unless somebody feels like they said something they oughtn't. But
Oh, shit.
otherwise,
Eric still has time.
And there's the one curse word I have to bleep out. Thanks, Richard. No, actually, I won't. Yeah, thank you all. You're wonderful, and I adore you all. Well, Eric, whatever.
Oh,
Aw, but you're all wonderful and adorable and incredibly talented and extremely generous with your time and talents. So
likewise.
Thank you. And yes,
Bonnie.
Bonnie, I think you're wonderful.
I don't get a lot
Even
of
though I might add that Kyle and Lee have both said that they're Team Madeline.
I think the other team.
Take that,
That's
Jesse.
true.
I said I was Team Bonnie. I didn't say anything about Jesse.
You did so.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you did.
Yes, I did.
He doesn't care.
Jesse's still.
Oh, did I say I
Captain
wanted to
Hottie,
whip her?
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lee. Lee, what'd you say?
I said Jesse's still Captain Hottie though.
That's true. That's true. Damn
There
it.
If you're asking Lee, then-
That's the only time I ever get that either. There.
All right.
Hey.
Well, thank you, everybody, and we'll sign off, and I will let you know when this airs.
I was not
Okay.
sure.
Bye.
Hey.
I know how much you're
Bye.
gonna miss me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss you.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. I really mean that. It's downright heroic. There is a part 2 to this conversation and includes Kevin Hall, who plays Greg, David S. Deere, voice of Tiberius and Dr. Theo Brome, and Tim Sherburne are Colin and Emily. So stay tuned for that, if that's the sort of thing you stay tuned for. Until then, Space Monkeys, narrator out.